Greetings! ReaCurve is a set of 4 modules that let you generate and manipulate envelope points or automation items, and it's completely free. The 4 modules are Random Generator, an experimental LFO generator, the Sculpt module, which lets you manipulate envelopes with various transformations and edit multiple automation items all at once, and Morph, which lets you morph between 2 envelopes or automation items. It requires a few Reascripts to be installed. These are ReaImGuy, the SWS extension, and the JS Reascript API. Links to those are in the description below, as well as the link to the ReaCurve repository. The Rea pack comes with 5 main scripts, 1 for each module, and 1 main file that lets you run all 4 at the same time. As a general overview, for the sliders, you can drag them with the mouse, and for final control, just hold Ctrl while dragging. If you want to enter a precise value, double-click the value to overwrite it. Double-clicking the slider itself resets its position. One more general thing, the generators insert the exact same shape regardless of the envelope track type. The shape stays consistent, whether you're working with a regular track envelope at dB, pan, width, or mute envelope, or even a tempo track. It also works with pitch and FX media envelopes. Alright, let's go through each module in detail. The random generator lets you generate random envelopes. You get a preview of the random curve before inserting it into your project. To insert the curve, make a time selection. Click on the envelope track to activate it, then insert, either as envelope points or as an automation item. The insertion is proportional to your time selection. There are 2 modes, free and grid. In free mode, the curve is inserted freely based on your time selection. In grid mode, you get a set number of points per grid division. If snapping is enabled, point will snap to the grid, and if your selection doesn't align perfectly, it will snap to the nearest grid point at insertion. The script is sensitive to REAPER's grid. If you change the grid, the module adapts automatically. You can adjust the number of points or the number of points per grid division. The New Seed button generates a new random pattern. The Shape buttons lets you change the curve shape with a live preview update while keeping the same seed. You've got all the classic REAPER shapes. You can also randomize the shapes of each segment. Each click gives you a new random shape. You can control the range of your random curve with presets like full range, half range, lower range, or upper range. You can also control amplitude and offsets with sliders. Finally, there is a quantized amplitude parameter. In free mode, the amplitude value of each random point can be anything. In quantized mode, points can only land on specific levels. It is controllable with a step slider. The LFO module is an experimental LFO generator based on manipulating a polygon in a polar coordinate system. The polygon is visible in the preview here, and you get the time domain preview over 2 cycles right here. The insertion principle is the same as a random generator. Make a time selection, click on the envelope track to activate it, then insert as envelope points or automation item. Going from top to bottom, there is a preset system for saving configurations. A few default presets are included for simple shapes, like triangle, sign, or square. You can save a preset, reset it, or randomize all available parameters at once. There are 2 modes, standard, shown by default, and advanced, which gives access to more parameters. Let me walk through what's in advanced. The tool is based on a polygon with number of sides you can change with a slider, from a single segment up to a 16-sided polygon. In the circular preview, each point is directly draggable, which affects the resulting time domain shape. You can apply symmetry and inversion operations within this coordinate system. Flip amplitude, which inverts the amplitude in the time domain. Flip time, which reverses the points of the time curve. Flip H, which mirrors the diagram horizontally. And flip V, which mirrors it vertically. Below that, there are several ways to modify the polygon. The rotate slider spins the shape. Its position changes the time domain preview. The phase slider rotates the point while the polygon stays fixed. The align slider pulls the points closer together onto a line, and the warp slider distorts the polygon. For each point, a drop-down appears after a moment, showing which key to use for precise control. Control drag moves the point symmetrically relative to the center of the circle. Shift drag locks it to vertical movement only, and Alt drag constrains it to horizontal movement only. You can randomize everything, sliders and polygon point positions, and there is a reset button to initialize the polygon. Below that, you have curve deformations to apply to the polygon, with multiple deformation types controlled by a slider. In sine mode, the polygon deforms on the positive side and the time curve looks like a sine wave. With a negative value, it deforms the other way. The available deformation types are sine, alt, which alternates positive and negative deformation per segment, wave, which produces more pronounced segment undulation, wavefold, which folds the curve back on itself when it exceeds the max value, and fry, which adds more noise to the pattern. On top of those transformations, you can change the segment shape, the classic REAPER shapes, the same as in the random generator. There is also amplitude, offset, and range control. Two insertion modes are available, fixed and grid. In fixed mode, you insert a precise number of cycles using the slider. Make a time selection, select your envelope track and hit insert. Changing the number of cycles inserts more cycles within the same time selection. In grid mode, the curve is inserted based on a grid division, and the script adapts to whatever grid you've set in REAPER. The quantize level works similarly to the random generator feature. When the parameter is at 0, it's inactive. Adjusting the slider locks the amplitude values to a set number of levels. Finally, the precision parameter controls the number of points and the accuracy of the insertion. For complex curves, this can mean a large number of points. In ultra-precise mode, you'll get more points that closely match the time domain preview. In aggressive mode, you get as few points as possible, but the shape will no longer be a strict match to the preview. Now let's look at Sculpt. Sculpt lets you manipulate either envelope points or automation items. For the tool to be active, you need to have points or automation items selected. At the top, you'll find the range parameters which apply to the randomization section just below. The keep edge parameter locks the outermost points so they don't move during randomization operations. You can randomize the values of your points while keeping their time positions fixed. If you switch to random edge, you will see the edge points start moving too. You can apply randomization with whatever range you want. You can also randomize the time positions of points while keeping their values. You can apply an amplitude mirror relative to the mid-level. Using random edge makes this really visible. And you can apply a time mirror of the curve. Or you can just randomize everything at once: position, value, and shape. For shapes, you can change the shape of the segments using the classic REAPER shapes. You can also randomize the shape for each segment between selected points. If your selection is still intact and you want to go back to the original shape, click on Origin. Next, there are several parameters for modifying the amplitude of your points. A small visual preview on the side helps explain what each one does. Baseline shifts the offset of the points. You can change the amplitude and even invert it. Skew lets you see whether the amplitude ramps up or down progressively. And tilt adjusts the amplitude with a lean, and you can also modify the tilt curve, increasing or decreasing it. Finally, there are timing transformations. Swing shifts points left or right every other one. In even mode, even-numbered points shift toward the next point. In odd mode, it's the odd-numbered ones. There is also a skew parameter that compresses and stretches the points, and you can move the pivot point that the skew is applied around. There is a visual preview at the bottom to help you see the placement. Edge compress squishes all your points in time without stretching. The anchor parameter then repositions those points relative to your original point selection range. And finally, reset all modifiers brings you back to your initial unmodified state. Last up is Morph, which lets you morph between two curves or automation items. The concept is simple. First, you capture a source. Click the button, then make a selection of what you want to capture, envelope points or automation item. Then you get a preview showing the morph with a slider to blend more or less toward a source. The precision parameter is the same as in the other modules. It determines the number of points that will be inserted, shown in white on the preview. Ultra precise gives you the most points, default is in between, and aggressive gives you the fewest points, but with less accuracy in the result. And for insertion, it's the same as the generators. Define a time selection, select your envelope track, and insert. I hope you find these tools useful. Please don't hesitate to give me feedbacks, positive or negative, in order to improve the tools. Thanks for watching, take care, and bye-bye.